In this video, Jordan Peterson talks about the industrious people.
Back to the industrious person. Carries out his or her plans. Wastes time. Negative. Industrious people don't waste time. So they stay focused on their goal. Or they continue acting in relationship to their goal. That's more accurate. Finds it difficult to get down to work. No, that isn't characteristic of industrious people. And you can see the willpower element to that to some degree. You know, you can tell yourself to sit down and work, and you will. So, messes things up. No, that isn't what an industrious person does. Finishes what he or she starts. Yes. Puts his or her mind on the task at hand. So there seems to be an attentional phenomena there, right? Is the person is able to focus in without distractions. Gets things done quickly. Well, industrious people seem to be fans of efficiency. And you can kind of see the relationship between efficiency and order. Although you can also see at times where the demand for more efficiency would require the disruption of something that was previously orderly. So an industrious person and an orderly person might have a dispute about that. Always knows what he or she is doing. So that's, again, there's a kind of certainty and direction that's associated with that. Doesn't postpone decisions, isn't easily distracted. And orderliness is the big predictor of long-term life success. Now, orderliness is more predictive of success in jobs that require careful attention to the management of process, so that if something has been turned into an algorithm, so that means there's a process by which it might be done, then an orderly person is very good at making sure that the algorithm runs exactly as it's supposed to without error. You see conscientiousness actually as quite a good predictor of scientific productivity, because one of the things that science does, in large part, is reduce the reliance on intelligence and increase the reliance on conscientiousness. I mean, that's one of its powers, right? Because you can be a not spectacularly bright scientist, but if you're good at methodology and you're detail-oriented and you know the literature, you can figure out what the next problem is to solve. It's micro-problem, because you know where the problems are. And then science is almost like a meat grinder, you know. If you turn the crank properly, you feed in raw information, you turn the crank properly, you're going to make the next, tiny step forward. And so it's maybe the more open scientists who leap way the hell into the future and completely transform a field at the level of fundamental presupposition. But most of the scientists are just nibbling on the edges between order and chaos. And, it's a whole monstrous mass of them moving forward tiny amounts at once. And so that's partly what makes science extremely powerful. Okay. We don't know why people are industrious. We can't figure it out. I have a sneaking suspicion. I told you that maybe part of it is that they want to win within a defined framework, and that might be associated with hypergamy. Now, one of the things you see is that there is a gender difference between men and women in relationship to conscientiousness. Not conscientiousness overall, but women are more orderly than men, and men are more industrious than women. And that kind of goes along with the hypergamy. So you remember, hypergamy is this tendency that I described already. That it's the case in among many types of creature. So there might be that as a motivation, although I don't think that you can simply say that men think that if they get successful, they're going to have more luck with women, although that's certainly a conscious realization on the part of many men. I think it's such a deep phenomena, though, that it's more like it's built into the motivational system a priori, So, anyways. So that would go on the masculine independence front, but we still haven't been able to manipulate that to any great degree. Maybe we're thinking as well that what conscientious people are doing is not so much striving to get to the top as they are trying really hard to stay away from the bottom. And that would go along with the with the orderliness, industriousness overlap. Say if part of what makes you orderly and somewhat industrious is disgust sensitivity, one of the things that you might want to do is flee from the bottom of dominance hierarchies, because the bottom of the dominance hierarchy is a bad place to be from the perspective of maintenance of health. Like, people at the bottom of dominance hierarchies are generally speaking, in much rougher shape than the people who are closer to the top. And so part of being industriousness might be, maybe you're motivated by not wanting to fail. And then you might think, well, that's anxiety. But maybe not, you know. Conscientious people, let's say you have someone walking down the street and they encounter a homeless person. Okay, is a conscientious person more or less likely to give the conscientious person money? Or give the homeless person, to give the homeless person money? What do you think? No, that's right. No, agreeable person. They'll give the person money. The conscientious person, especially the one that's sort of hyper-orderly, will say, get a job. And they do that because conscientious people are also more judgmental. And that goes along with the hierarchical attitude, I think. They generally run on the principle that being higher up in the hierarchy is better, and that there's something wrong with you from a moral perspective if you happen to be, among the failures. And so one possibility is that part of the reason that conscientious people, industrious people are that way is because they judge themselves quite harshly. And they really do not want to fail. But it's not because they're anxious. It's because they're disgusted, self-disgusted by the possibility that they might count among the failures. And so that grounds it in an entirely different motivational system.